It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott's here, Mary Jo Foley's here, and most importantly, the new Surfaces are here. Paul and Mary Jo will take a look. They've already seen them. The Surface Pro 8, the Surface Laptop Studio, and yes, the new Surface Duo. Watch as Mary Jo convinces me to buy one. It's all coming up next on Windows Weekly.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley. Episode 743, recorded Wednesday, September 22nd, 2021. Muff Mode. Windows Weekly is brought to you by Worldwide Technology and Cisco. With a return to the office in sight, are you prepared to safely welcome back employees and patrons? Do you have the right tools in place to support hybrid work? WWT combines strategy and execution to bring clarity to reopening plans and implement solutions that enable flexible working. Visit wwt.com/twit to get started. And by Akamai. Akamai is the world's largest distributed edge compute platform. To deliver and protect your digital experiences worldwide, tap into Akamai for its unrivaled intelligence, performance, and scalability. Visit akamai.com/WW today to learn more. And by Udacity. Gain in-demand tech skills in as little as 3 months with Udacity's part-time online tech courses. Visit udacity.com/twit and get 75% off any program with the code TWIT75. Limited time offer. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show where we cover the latest news from Microsoft. There's big news from Microsoft. Paul Thurrott's here from Thurrott.com, and his book is at leanpub.com. Mary Jo Foley from her ZDNet blog, which is all about Microsoft.com. And
I thought you were going to say all about Android.
All about Android.com.
all about Linux.com.
All about Notepad.
Yeah.
That's really what it's all about. All about Notepad.com. Be a short blog. Wouldn't have to update it much.
I don't know.
Mary Jo and I were talking before the show. Apparently, according to in our Discord, the guy who writes Notepad said, really, it's just an interface on top of the text edit control. And since they haven't updated that since 2018, there really aren't going to be any new features.
He's kind of underselling it, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe that was in the forums, and maybe that was in our discourse forum.
It was the guy. Who's the guy who used to work at Microsoft who has a YouTube show that's really good?
Yeah. He was complaining about Task Manager in Windows 11, by the way. He could not believe that they're...
How bad it is still. Yeah.
Well, there's just stuff in any operating system, in any big computer company, that nobody's touching because it's kind of there.
Plummer.
Dave Plummer.
Thanks, crew man. Yeah. That's who it was talking about Notepad. Yep.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, Paul, welcome back after a 2-hour break. Mm-hmm. I spent the 2 hours talking about Linux, so just a little.
So you're fresh and ready.
A palate cleanser. Microsoft this morning, very brisk 47 minutes with Panos Panay, a little button on the end by Satya Nadella. I'm still trying to figure out what he said. Showing off 8 new devices. Well, if you include a pen as a device and a mouse as a device.
Yeah.
Right.
It was, but I have to say, there was some mouth-watering substance.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay,
this was great.
So I haven't said this yet on the show since we just started, obviously, but I got to go to the Microsoft store yesterday and actually hold all of these devices in person.
Okay.
And I think it made a big difference in how I feel about some of them.
That's interesting.
Pluses and minuses.
Right.
So this was a pre-briefing that they did just for you? Oh, nice.
No, so they were doing very small groups, mostly of people who lived in New York City, to go into the store, observing all the COVID protocols and having 45 minutes where you could walk around to the tables where the products were and talk to product managers and ask your questions. So there were only like me and 2 other people in mine, which was awesome. So I could like dominate the conversation and like grab things out of people's hands and, like I do normally in a press briefing.
Sure.
My
So what was
funniest
your-
moment was I saw the Surface Laptop Studio, and I said to the woman who was there, I'm like, so I know this is a little unconventional, but could I actually sit down here and put this on my lap and see if it's lappable? And she was practically ready to call security.
Oh my God.
I'm like, don't worry, I'm not going to drop it and I'm not going to steal it. And so somebody from Microsoft goes, let her do it. Just let her do it.
It's her thing, man. Just let her do it, man.
And so I put it on my lap and I like opened it up and I pretended I was typing on it. And she's like watching me like, what is she doing? And I said, yeah, you know what? This is so much better than the old Surface Book because you just gave that a little tap and it would flip.
It was so
right over
heavy.
and fall on the ground.
It had
So
to be.
top heavy.
Because it had all of the guts were actually in the lid, not in
Yeah,
the.
right. Which
Right.
made no sense. That whole product to me, I was always like, it was a product in search
Well,
of a reason to
It made
be
sense if you
Actually,
attach it
okay.
to screen and
You know
the
what?
CPU's back in the keyboard, you're out of
Yeah.
luck. So it made
I'm
sense.
actually
in
really
that
glad
context.
she just said something that touches on I don't want to call it an insight I had. I don't mean like that, like I'm some kind of a freaking genius, but
Epiphany is the word you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It came down to me from on high is all I'm
Yes,
saying.
that's
No, but you just touched on something that I think is very important and is very relevant to Surface and what just happened today. And I sort of said something to this tune during the event, but in the past, I feel like Surface has tried to innovate new form factors just to do it. That's how they saw their mission for some reason. They've never actually innovated a form factor in their lives, but they seem to think this is the biggest thing in the world. And I think when you think like that, you're not thinking through customer problems. You're thinking through what I can do next. What does my ego want me to do? And Surface Surface Book is that product, whereas Surface Laptop Studio, is more
Surface
like
Laptop
what
Studio.
customers want and need. It actually pays attention to what matters to people that will buy it, not to what matters to the people who made it.
Agree.
And that's you can apply that thinking to everything that they announced today, from Surface Duo 2 to the Surface Pro 8, et cetera, et cetera. Everything they announced. It's like we're going to stop shooting for the sky here and be iterative in a way that makes sense for actual customers. And I think it's going to make these products more popular.
Me too.
Now I have
course.
to point out on this the dearth of connectors is kind of scary. There's two
I know,
Thunderbolt
right?
4 on the left.
Right.
They still have this stupid Windows dong
I know.
connector on it.
I talked to them about that yesterday. I'm like, so really, you're still using the Surface Connect thing like as your power
Well, they have, by the way,
source?
one of them, if you get a Surface Laptop Studio with a GPU, a dedicated GPU, I believe the power supply is 104 watts.
Wow.
It's a pretty high watt, whatever the number. I believe it's 104. It's a big number.
So they need
apparently
that.
they're able to deliver more juice over that thing.
You can go to
I
100
believe
watts on Thunderbolt. So
Okay.
Yeah.
4 more watts. Okay.
I
Fine.
could be. I'm pulling that number off the top of my head, so I could be a little bit off. But I believe it's something big, and it's not
Yeah.
45, 65. Like it's a big number.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
that's good.
well, the thing they always come back to is, well, our enterprise customers say they don't want us to be changing out this part, and they want us to stay consistent with this. And
Well, that makes sense if you've got an investment in
That's
these.
fine, but why
Yeah,
can't you do
I know.
both? I mean, that's always been
So
our
it
I know.
won't charge in the Type C, the Thunderbolt 4?
Oh, I don't know
connectors?
about that.
bet
It should.
will.
Why wouldn't it?
It
Yeah,
should,
I think
yeah.
it would.
yeah.
Yeah.
It should. I would think.
Yeah, it's Thunderbolt 5. That's the spec, right? It should
Yeah.
do whatever the spec does.
Tops
Yeah.
out at 32 gigs of RAM. That's a little light for a pro workstation style machine. 2 terabyte SSD.
So I'll
But,
tell you the thing. There were two things I didn't like about the Surface Studio laptop. One is if you I couldn't master the hinge at all. The hinge, maybe it's just that I'm inept at this kind of stuff, but I was trying to lift it in different ways, and I was putting my fingernails behind the thing, trying to pull it forward, and the woman's like, no, just grab it like this with the 4-finger grab and lift it up. I'm like, oh, good, okay, there's a way, and it's a woven hinge. It's cloth. It's not Alcantara.
What?
Yeah,
It's cloth?
It's like this. It feels like some special, maybe it's plastic, but it felt like
I mean, obviously it has to be metal inside.
Yeah.
But there is
it felt very durable. It didn't feel like it was going to rip or that you could pull it off or anything. But then I was like trying it in different modes. So they have like the stage mode and they have a creator's mode, right? And then there's this weird mode you can put it in where it's not quite all the way up or down. And it was like, I thought people would use it to write on it that way or draw on.
No,
and when I tried it, I'm like, wait, it's very bouncy. I'm like, the keyboard was bouncing up and down, right? And I'm
there's a name for it, Paul, right?
It's like stage mode
stage mode. No, stage mode is the one where it's facing away from you and you can do a presentation, right?
Okay.
It's the, you just enjoy content on it. It's for watching a movie.
Yeah, because you wouldn't
see that one with the pen there, like right before you get to that
mode,
flat level.
This one.
Yes. So if you don't have it quite, if you don't have it
up
all
a little
flat,
bit, not completely flat. Okay.
Right. So I put it that way, and then it was bouncing, like when I was.
Well, you wouldn't want that if you're penning.
No, so then the person who was demoing it to me puts her arm underneath like a muff, kind of, and she goes, "Yeah, if you could do this, you could put your arm under it to brace it." I'm like, "What?"
No.
And I go, and then I said to her, "Is this muff mode? Like what is that?"
Oh my God.
No, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm just making up something that nobody would ever do in holding it in this particular position.
No, I think
but
you
it
would,
seems
because
weird.
if you're a cartoonist, you're drawing on it. I think you'd want that.
Yeah. I don't know. I was surprised about the bounciness. I was like, oh, and maybe, maybe by the time they ship it, they can tighten that hinge so it doesn't like bounce up and down like that. But I was surprised about that.
Huh.
It weighs 4 pounds. That thing is pretty light for the
big.
power.
I'm sorry. Yes. I was going to say it's a mobile workstation, right? So for a mobile workstation with a 14, the 15-inch screen, I mean, that's actually fine.
Well, I want to thank you two, because you've basically talked me out of buying this.
Wow,
Why?
That was not my intent. I think this is a beautiful machine. I think it's going to sell well with an audience that doesn't need it. I mean, this is for engineers, developers, graphic artists. It's a workstation, right? Yeah. I mean, most people would be better served by a Surface laptop, right? Or any laptop.
Yeah.
But I think this will, because it's so cool, I think it will attract a broader audience.
They had Scott Hanselman on there, right? Talking about it as a developer workstation.
Top of the line i7, 32 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte SSD is $3,100. Base model, though, is pretty affordable. $1,600. You get an i5, 16 gigs RAM, 256
and that's integrated graphics, right? So this is not. There's no GPU. In
so if you're getting the top of the line, you're getting that NVIDIA 3050 Ti. Okay. So you might actually want that. Frequently bought together. It does not include the new.
It doesn't include anything, right? Pens, no. Mice, no. Like everything is add-on. Yep. I like this machine, and I can see why people would like it, especially if you have high-end needs like video production. If you're somebody who's creating artwork, I can see the use cases for this. But like you said, it's not for everybody, and I feel like a lot of people just want it because it's cool looking, right?
Yep,
like
it's cool and new. I guess the one concern I would have would be, because it's up on a little stand. Yeah. What's the typing position like if you're on a desk? It's not. It's like an inch higher. That's a little strange. Yeah. Although, Surface Book was fairly thick, and of course it went up in the back anyway.
Thick, right?
In the back it certainly was, but I mean, just from the front of it. That little bit of an overhang, I don't know how that would be on your wrists, but like I said, but the point is the same. I mean, for the market that this thing targets, this is
in Muff mode, you just have a really nice, strong wrist there.
Well, people who can afford this laptop actually hire a person to put their arm
I have a muffer. Yeah.
You put your arm under it, and then you use your other hand, your writing hand, to draw. And it's like,
they use one of those leather things that you have when you're a falconer.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
A sheath of some kind on their arm.
Yeah. Yeah, so that one I was like, okay, I think it's way better than the old Surface Book. And if you guys haven't heard this, Microsoft is saying publicly this replaces the Surface Book.
Yeah.
The Surface Book line is done, right?
Yep.
So I asked them, does it also replace the Surface Studio line? And are you going to make any more Surface Studios? And they said we have no comment on that, but I would guess no more
I
Surface
think this
Studios.
is, yeah.
Right?
Paul and I noted, though, at Panos Panay on stage, he had some images behind him. One of them was of user using a Surface Studio.
Yeah, but that was before they announced any products. I think they were just trying to show the breadth of Surface devices.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like during the Apple event, they showed iPhone 12s until they got to the iPhone.
Yeah.
They did focus on the hinge.
Yeah. The hinge is very interesting on that one. It's very interesting, right? Okay, but my biggest surprise in seeing these devices in person, and Paul's going to try to talk me off the ledge on this, I really like the Duo 2. I can't even believe I'm saying that.
Me too. Me too. And you said last week, don't buy it, Leo. You always want the third iteration.
I know.
But they got the cameras right this time, it looks like.
Yep. It looks
it's
like.
It's got NFC. It's got wireless
People
charging.
never learn. My God.
I know.
Who cares what it has? It's a Microsoft Android device. Come on.
I know. But I really. So you know what it was? It was so much snappier than the first iteration. The first iteration, you'd do something and you'd be like, I wonder if that worked. Let's see. Let's see if it does something right.
This time
how many versions of
888
Android are they going to give you on this thing? What did they commit to for support?
Android 11. It's shipping with Android.
I know,
11.
but what did they commit to for up? Because Android 12 is coming out a week later. So
I know.
What,
so yeah,
the last one
they
never got a
didn't say.
single upgrade.
I know.
An Android version upgrade.
It does have NFC. Yes, it does. For people asking, I don't know. Like I went in there so skeptical, and I went up to the table, and the guy goes, "So you were one of the people who tested Duo 1, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "What do you want out of Duo 2?" I said, "I want it to be good."
Yeah, that's a kind of starting point. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. But then they started demoing it, and I held it, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of
So it was snappy, and the software seemed to work. That was the problem before, was the software.
The software was terrible. It was terrible.
I love the third little screen on the hinge. That was another thing people complained about, is not being able to, when it's closed on the desk, not knowing what your notifications were.
Yeah, I know.
Mary Jo, I don't know if you remember. Okay. Just, sorry, real quick. When we were doing Longhorn, Microsoft tested design with Asus of a laptop that had a little screen on the outside for this exact same reason. So without opening the lid, you could see if you could have notifications, if you had new email, whatever it was, date, time,
I love
weather.
that feature. What did they call that thing? I can't remember now, but
it was something. I don't remember either, actually. So maybe someone will remember this. I don't remember.
No.
So Leo said something about Glance. I thought, that might have been part of the name.
I think Glance is on the Duo 2. That's what they call this thing, the Glance.
Yeah, but it might have been what they called it in Longhorn too, and then of course it never happened. But I don't remember, but it was.
I know.
It was the same idea.
I do remember that. Yeah, it's a great idea.
I'm so tempted by this thing, and you touched it, you used it, and you think it felt pretty good, huh?
Yeah, he hands it to me and he goes, "Here, play a game on it." I'm like, "No,
the wrong person. Use Notepad on it, Mary Jo."
It doesn't have Notepad. Like somebody needs to do this. And give me an Android version.
There's going to be a note-taking app of some kind. There's actually a really good one called Obsidian you can use that works on Android.
OneNote.
Yeah.
I don't like OneNote.
Okay. Look, guys,
it's overkill.
However nice
for
the device
me.
is, the problem is going to be the software.
I know.
I just I don't know how you trust Microsoft with Android. There's no.
So I just pre-ordered
precedent for that.
Did you?
I did. I hit the button. Yes, I did. I know. I'm like, oh.
Well,
gosh.
2 months from now, when we're talking about how you both return this, I
can return it.
Just predicting this conversation.
That's what we did last time. I bought it.
I know.
$1,500, same price. Returned it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so tempted.
And you can return it. And so I asked to review it, and they didn't make any commitment. So I'm like, I better buy one because they didn't say I could review it. I think they didn't let me.
Maybe they sell out, Mary Jo.
Did you get the black or did you get the?
I got a Glacier. I went for the low end because I want to see how it works. 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of SSD.
They're already out of stock on the 512 and the 128.
They are on the black. I know. Black is out of stock. I bought a tangerine bumper. So did you guys see the pen thing you can do? There's like a pen case and the pen can stick to it.
I loved that. I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah.
I don't know
and
you
the
two
bump.
anymore.
Okay,
I don't
there's
know
a
what's
camera
happening
bump.
here.
There's a camera bump.
Everything has a
Did it
camera
have a
bump.
kitty case
That's
or
life.
what
Camera.
comes next?
It didn't seem that bad.
No,
it
it's
didn't seem
just,
that bad.
you put it on the other side.
No, but then I said to the guy who was demoing the photos thing to me, I'm like, so wait a minute. You still have to hold the phone open to take a photo if you want to use those 3 special lenses, right? You can't do it with it shut. He's like, yeah, but you know what you can do? And he's like holding it open with 2 hands, like a book, like facing him. And I'm like, it's kind of like taking a picture with an iPad.
Yeah.
Like,
I suppose that would allow you to use it like a tripod of sorts. You could stand it up.
No, he had ideas.
Independently.
Yep, he showed that, like you could stand it up like a tripod. And he also said, like, you can also hold it way down low and like take an angle up and get a really cool shot. I'm like, okay, there are little weird things you can do with it, but I don't know.
Why did you get the bumper? Did you feel like you needed the bumper?
Yeah, I always drop my phone. I drop my phone constantly.
Yeah, it's an expensive phone to drop.
I'm
That's
scared
for
to death
sure.
of that.
$1,500 as your starting price.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which that
Did
was
you get the
surprised about
pen?
the price. I don't need a pen.
I don't need a pen.
I know. We should talk about the pen. Well, we're going to talk about the pen, right? Because that was like the star of this event. And
How did we go from the most incredible laptop ever invented to a stupid folding device and a pen? What is happening? Is there no structure to this?
No, wait. Did you guys see? No, my genius idea that I gave them for free at the event yesterday was I said, so you know what you guys need to do is you need to do a commercial comparing how you charge your pen in these nice ways under the keyboard, and it's very compact and cool, to how Apple charges theirs. And you compare and contrast and make fun of them. Come on, this is the commercial.
They actually do it exactly the same way.
Yeah, you put it on top of the tablet.
No, what's the one where Apple Pen sticks into
That's
something? And you have
old.
to
They
have
don't
it
do that
upside down?
anymore.
Yeah. Well, unless you buy
still
the
use
base
that.
iPad. I mean.
Oh, yeah, I guess Pen 1, you still take the top off and you connect it to a
Right?
Lightning. Yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
Yeah, they use magnets now, too, for the new one.
Yeah. The magnet is very, very strong. I can tell you that. Like when you use the magnet on the Duo or any device now, it really sticks to the device. There's no way that falls off anymore.
What I find kind of funny is there was kind of a dig at one point where they were talking about other companies that made fun of the, 2-in-1 device, and then they didn't see any need for a pen. And then they came out with one and they called it a pencil, and it's like, fair. But now you have a carpenter's pencil that you call a pen. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess we all have different names for things, but they're just, I think both of these companies and anyone else who's in this business is just emulating each other where it makes sense.
Yeah. They really want you to use the pen, right? Like everything at this event was about the pen. Everybody needs the pen. You need it to touch things and to write and to draw. I use the new haptics on the pen, and it is very cool. It does feel like you're writing on paper because of the way
that's
they
interesting.
simulated that.
Yeah,
it feels very much like paper. It really
Did
does.
they talk, Mary Jo? I'd have to look this up, but in the paperwork somewhere, there is actual hardware, and I know it's in Surface Pro 8, and I assume it's in Laptop Studio, that is a special hardware that interacts with this new pen specifically.
Yes.
And it combined with the haptics and the new point on the thing, they all kind of work together to make that really natural pen on paper feel. So do you remember anything about this? I can't even remember the name of it.
There's a chip in the pen, G something. I'm forgetting the name. That makes that happen.
There you go.
But
you're on the track. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also in the operating system itself, they've done things around inking and touch in Windows 11 that makes it way easier for the pen to like register how you're using it. So they showed me when you pointed in a certain way, like the menu changed on Excel because it saw like how you were about to use the pen and it was a different way. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's very cool, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, what if you use Windows 10 with it? And they just had this horrified face. I'm like, okay, so
Windows 10.
What's Windows 10? Oh,
Is that the one that's not 99.8% reliable? Yeah, we're not really worried about that one.
Yeah. But it is like one of those things you need to try that experience to see how it feels, because I was surprised. I was like, oh, it's going to just feel the same like a new pen.
You're,
right? No,
you're
it
making me
doesn't.
crazy. I don't want to buy this. I don't want to buy it.
Buy it and return it if you hate it.
I did that last time. It wasn't too hard.
Now, to be clear, that pen experience is not on the phone. That's on the computers. You need the.
But you
Well,
can
they
use
offer the pen
on the phone.
No, you can use it, but you're not getting that experience because that stuff
you're
all
not.
requires PC.
Correct.
It's a
What
special chip
aren't
for
I
the PC.
getting?
It's software Windows 10. They're getting this.
No, you don't get all that
supernatural feeling pen on
customized
paper
features
experience.
like we're talking about.
You don't get the haptic feedback?
I
Oh,
do
you
not
might, I don't
believe
know.
you would. I do not.
It's in the
believe
really sure.
pencil.
I know, but it interacts with a chip that's
It does
in the,
something with the operating system too.
All right,
It
well,
does.
I'm taking the pen off then. On my imaginary purchase, which is good because it brought it up to $2,000.
Yeah, I know the pen is $130 by itself. The new Slim Pen 2.
I decided to get the Microsoft Complete Protection Plan because I feel like I will drop this.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
just bring it to your local
I know.
store and
It has,
They won't know what it
it
is.
has accidental damage coverage. And Microsoft baked service.
I think anytime any company announces something like this, you need to take a 24-hour break from your credit card.
I agree.
do.
Totally.
You do.
Totally. I just
I
ordered.
was just afraid they were going to sell out. That's why I did it.
Yeah, and well, that's why you do it. They want you to think that. That's why I ordered the iPad Mini, because that was
Yeah.
going to be my new 8-inch phone. But this is like a Mini that folds up.
You're probably get a Duo One now for like $200.
You can. No, but you know why? Actually, I'm like, this is everyone's joking. Like, oh, sure, they'll sell out. No one's going to buy this thing. It's $1,500. It's like terrible. It was terrible in the first iteration, but because of all these component shortages that every company keeps talking about, I wonder how many of these they're actually going to have.
Well,
and
okay.
can make,
I think what you could say is because of how few they sold the first time, they understand that the market is limited and they are going to make less of them. There's no doubt about it.
I would think so. I would think they would make a lot fewer of them. I do.
It's an expensive device.
It's funny. I still have the Halo Xbox Series X on here. I thought, why is
that
it
coming
suddenly
still?
$4,000? Yeah, no, it says, please remove this. You ain't getting it. You ain't getting it, buddy.
So my biggest faux pas at the event was when I saw the Surface Pro 8, and the guy's like, do you want to come see the Surface Pro 8? I'm like, from here, it looks pretty incremental. Like, you didn't do a whole lot. And he just looked at me and he was like, what? He's like, this is our biggest
How
upgrade
could you
since
say
Surface
that?
Pro 3. And he's
Yeah,
like,
it
sit
really
down.
is.
You're gonna get a demo right now. I'm like, okay.
It's hard to remember how long ago that was. 2014,
I know, right?
right?
Yeah.
I mean, they've literally stuck with the same form factor. I mean, way too long. But yeah, this is a big update. And for people who do want or need this kind of device, this is the big news, I would say, of the day is Surface Pro 8.
You would? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Bigger than
Of
Laptop
course.
Studio?
Yeah, definitely. They're going to sell way more of these things. This is their best seller by far.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
Should I
Yeah, you're
take
right.
this?
No, you're right.
If I order it now, I'll get it just in time to take it to Mexico.
Jeez.
Should I? What? What are you laughing at me
Which
for?
what? First of all, which device are you talking about?
The Duo.
No, dude.
Dude, don't order the Duo. He's saying,
All right,
dude.
so what's going to happen between now and October 5th is people are going to get review units, whoever they are, and people are going to have reviews out probably a week before the Duo goes on sale, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to know that by then, like, is it really good?
we
Should I
could cancel it
my
before it
order?
comes. That's a
Yes.
good point. That's a good point. I could just order it now and cancel it even before I get it.
You could.
So there's no risk.
There's no risk. They don't charge your credit card until they ship.
Okay.
What's happening?
All right. Just ordered it.
See, there you go.
And I ordered the pencil because I feel like I should be able to say whether it does the. Oh, no, I didn't order the pencil. Why is it so expensive?
It's so expensive.
Jeez
$130.
Louise. Did I buy 2 of them? I was able to get the Obsidian with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gig SSD.
Nice.
So,
In black, you got.
I got the black one.
Yeah.
And just so that we're twinsies, I got the tangerine bumper.
Aw,
wow.
cute. Cute.
I think white and tangerine would be better than the black and tangerine, but
Yeah.
what the heck? The bumper came with it last time.
Did it come with it?
Yes.
Oh, that might have been like
$40.
a special promo or something.
$40 for the bumper.
Yeah, it came with it
Great.
last time.
They got
That
you
Surface
now.
pen case, the Duo pen case that makes the pen stick to it, that's another separate thing, separate
Good
charge
Lord.
as well.
Does anyone do anything normal with a phone
Wait a
anymore?
minute. It doesn't stick to it unless you buy something special for it
Correct.
to stick to?
Correct. It accidentally can stick to it, but if you want it to actually stick the way it was intended, you need the Surface.
It sticks. Look.
Duo
No, that's an
pen
accident.
case.
It shouldn't
You remember
be.
that happened with Surface Duo 1? People were saying, hey, the pen can stick to it. And they're like, we didn't design it to do that.
In fact, it might be damaging the interior.
Yes.
Maybe don't do that.
Right. So when you have this pen case on it, you can put the pen all the way to the right on the device, and it will stay put in your purse, anywhere. It won't come off.
It's really
on
good.
there
Nice.
very securely.
Well,
Yes.
maybe I'll get that afterwards if I keep the Duo.
Yeah.
I'll get that afterwards. You remember last year, too. I'm a believer. I like this. I think it's better than a folding screen.
Yeah.
I think it's more durable. It makes more sense. You can have better quality screens. You can use real glass, all of that.
Yeah.
And the hinge doesn't bother me particularly, but I want the software to take advantage of it. It needs
Me too.
It needs to know there's a hinge and that it's like
Yep.
last year the map would be you'd miss whatever's over the hinge. You'd have to move the map to get it out from under the hinge. That
Yep.
it should split it
That's
to the
not
two
great.
screens. That's crazy.
Oh, something else about the Duo 2 that was interesting. They tightened the hinge a lot. I don't know if I just felt like it was very floppy a lot of times. Like I wanted it to
no,
be
it should
tighter.
be tight. Yeah.
It's very much tightened up. But like I said to the guy who demoed it to me, I'm like, I didn't really think the hardware needed a ton of improvement other than the camera. I think your software needed a million things
Yes.
to fix it.
And what did he say?
He's like, we heard that feedback.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yep, I'm sure you did.
I like the idea.
I like
really
the
do.
idea. I like the concept. I still am not convinced I'll be more productive with two screens side by side, but I am willing to suspend disbelief and try it again.
You're not planning on writing columns on it or anything.
No.
It's mostly for you to, run untapped on, right? That's mostly what it is.
Yeah.
Take a picture.
Untapped.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
A perfect beer shot from my phone.
Yeah, it's for the
and
beer shot.
I mean, it works really well as a phone if you want to use it as a phone.
I haven't made a phone call in so long.
Yeah. Every once in a while I need to, and when I do, I'm like happy I have a phone with me, but yeah.
I saw a TV show the other night. It was Billions came back. It's the COVID version of Billions on Showtime. And by the way, it's interesting. The cast is evenly split between Surface devices and Macintoshes.
Are the bad people using Macs?
No,
Is
I
that what
thought
you're
maybe it was, but no, it's just random. But there's actually one of the characters has a Surface Studio on her desk. There's a lot of, I think it's zooming on Surface Pros, a lot of it. And my point is, nobody made a regular phone call where you hold the phone to your head. Hardly anybody did that anymore. They're all talking like this on the phone.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Is that a thing, or is that just a TV thing?
Yeah, it's a thing. And by the way, it's legal for you to walk up and dump someone's phone when you see them doing that out public. So
You do see it all
definitely a
around.
thing.
In
I
New
just had
York,
a
you
duo
see
with my
everybody do
daughter,
it.
and I liked it. I like being so I'm thinking this would be perfect for something like that, because you could even use the hinge and put it on something. I don't know. Paul,
So can we talk about stuff they announced today?
I'm coming up with a net.
Surface Pro 8. No.
Okay.
I want to hear you.
8.
I want to hear more of
8.
Paul's
Let's talk about
opinion on 8 because I'm not a big Surface Pro fan. I don't love that form factor. I know so many people who love it. I know Thunderbolt's new, right? The cameras, the built-in cameras are better and new.
Yep.
The screen is, what do they say about the screen? Faster refresh on the screen.
Yeah,
Thunderbolt.
120
120, which is rapid.
Yeah.
That kills battery life. But Paul and I were talking this morning about whether they'd be able to, whether it would be sensing what you're doing, because you don't need it all the time. If you're typing text, you don't need 120 hertz in Notepad.
Well, yeah. I mean, ideally, what you have is an adaptive refresh rate, and I don't believe, I could be wrong, but I don't think it does that. I think it works the way external monitors work today, where you have to
you choose.
go in and tell
you
it
got a
which
choice of
refresh rate
60 or
you want,
20. Yeah.
Oh, no,
can
you know,
put
who
the
knows?
pen
Maybe
in
you're
the
on battery
keyboard.
life
As you
and it
can see
automatically
right
goes
there.
down to 60.
Has a high-speed Thunderbolt 4 port.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
There's two of them.
It's thinner, but not as thin as Surface Pro X.
Yeah, that's okay.
I have to say,
Yeah.
Windows 11 does look good on this. It is kind of made for Windows 11.
Yeah.
It just
To me, it's just, you know, the screen has gone from 12.3 or 5 or whatever it was at to 13, which is a big deal. I always felt that was too small. I like the new keyboard cover with that little well for the pen because that will charge it and you can hide it if you want, you know, angle the keyboard. You know, better battery life, modern internals, Wi-Fi 6, optional LT on both Pro and Go, which is what everyone's been asking for. Not on Laptop Studio, which is confusing. That should just be something on every device.
maybe they think it's just too heavy to carry around, and it's a desktop replacement.
I don't know. I think 4 pounds you could
it's not
carry
that
that
heavy.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, this is the big one. It's not something I need or want, but it is.
It's their
most
flagship.
popular Surface.
It's their flagship.
This is the one. This is when people think Surface. This is what they think.
Yeah.
And when Pro X came out last year, or whatever that was, everybody looked at that and said, "Can we get an install one of these things?" I mean, you know. So to me, this is a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the display is right on this very important.
And very nice.
Yeah.
Right.
That looks great.
So it starts, Surface Pro 8 starts at 1,100. Then the keyboard is probably like 150, 160. Slim pen,
yeah, probably.
130.
Yep. Yeah, it goes up. But, you know, these things are always on sale. I think you'll see the price go down on this, too. It's good.
It looked nice. The guy was very insulted that I wasn't more impressed. But I thought there were other devices there that I wanted to spend more time with. That's all.
Let's buy one of these two. Why don't we just buy one of these two? Platinum or graphite? Paul noted that
by the
these
way,
are no
aluminum.
longer magnesium; that they're
That's
aluminum.
right. They're made of aluminum now, which
right.
is confusing. Did they explain that at all?
I would guess weight, right?
No, magnesium's lighter.
Magnesium's lighter.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. I mean,
No, they did not explain that. They did not.
okay. Surface laptop, remember, is aluminum. And maybe it's just easier to source. I have no idea. But I sort of, you know, they talked about recycling. They gave no details at all about recycling or using recycled materials at all, other than one mouse.
The mouse. Right.
I sort of
Made of ocean
speculated that.
plastic.
Well, maybe aluminum is more readily available as a recycled material. I just don't know. I don't know. They never said anything about it.
Yeah.
Well,
We
anyway,
had a total of 45 minutes to talk to all stations, so you couldn't ask everything you wanted. But yeah.
so, a flagship looks good. Reasonable improvements, kind of the improvements you'd expect, right?
Right.
No surprises. Thank goodness they have Thunderbolt on them now.
Right. And and that's the missing piece for Surface Laptop, which is the only major device that wasn't updated today.
They're not going to have Thunderbolt yet. Yeah.
No, but the next one will. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Laptop 5.
They got to get those in sync.
Yeah. Well, they basically did the whole lineup except for Studio and Laptop today, so they're kind of there. I mean, it's okay for them to have 2 or 3 release cycles a year. There's nothing wrong with that. It's fine.
Still has a Surface Connect port, but 2 USB-Cs that go up to Thunderbolt 4 headphones and type cover port. Compatible with Surface Dial. I still have my Surface Dial. That's nice. Yeah. The Hello camera. They're really pushing Hello cameras being the future, right?
Well, not just for sign-in, but with Mary Jo alluded to or mentioned this. The webcams are all improved across the board.
Yes.
I think this one has
1080p.
a rear-facing webcam as well.
4K video on the rear-facing, 10 megapixel. Yeah. The studio mics.
Yeah.
Did you hear the
All the stuff
speakers
you
at all, Mary Jo? Do they sound good?
I did not hear the speakers. Sorry.
We're going to have to send somebody else in your place next time. That's it.
It was like me running from station to
45
station.
minutes
trying
is
to
not
see
long.
everything.
Yeah.
I know. I was like,
They didn't spend much time on the Pro X or the Go 3, I thought.
No, but so to be clear, Pro X was not updated, right? I mean, there's a new SKU that doesn't have cellular connectivity. So it's exactly the same computer as last year, but they have a cheaper version, and they just left out a chip, which is how they got the cheaper price,
Okay.
which I think is $8.99.
It has a big yellow banner on it that says updated, but I guess
It is up to, they ripped something out of it. And
that's
they
the
lowered
update
price.
right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was really curious. I'm like, why Wi-Fi only, other than you want to have a lower priced version, right?
Well, so we were just saying like, oh, every computer should have this, right? Okay, that's cute. But the reality is most people never use this, including me, by the way. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things I like the idea of, but when I say that, I'm not thinking of myself. I'm thinking of just mobile professionals who, hopefully one day will be traveling again for work, and you could understand why they would need this. I feel like it should just be an option. That's all.
Someday
And so
we'll
now
be
it
able
is,
to
by the
leave.
way.
We'll be able to leave the house.
Yeah,
Right.
that'll be
That's
fun.
what they said to me. They said it's for people who don't leave the house and use the device in the house, or
Well, that's
people
fine.
who.
That's everybody.
It's I know,
Right.
or people who are at work and they use this device at work and they don't carry it around outside, like to coffee shops and here and there.
Yeah.
Like there are people who only want Wi-Fi and that's all they care about, right?
That's most people.
Were you? I guess there's nothing more with Windows on ARM to say, and it's not going
Well, there's one
well,
thing
there's
to
two
say.
things. Two. I would say there's two, but go on. What's the one you
Okay,
have?
so the one thing I would say is they confirmed that x64 emulation will be in there, which I guess they had said this before, but it just went right over my head. But when Windows 11 comes out on ARM, you will finally have the x64 emulation shipping in the product.
Right.
So that's good.
So that is good, and that is, in the list of complaints one might have about Windows and ARM, that's the number one complaint, right? So they're answering a big part of the compatibility problem. But one of the other big problems that won't be solved by this is that the current hardware is terrible. So emulating something slowly is better than not being able to do it, but these things just don't run very fast. And we know that, I don't remember the name of the firm, but remember that Qualcomm bought a company they're working on laptop chipsets, and those things won't be out till next year. So the reason Pro X didn't get a so-called new processor is that the best they could have done is a single-digit percentage level of improvement. So why bother? Because next year, hopefully, we're going to see some dramatic performance improvements there. And then maybe, Windows on ARM becomes a thing we can really be serious about. This kind of update makes sense. One of the other problems that these devices have is they're expensive. And it's kind of a tough thing to go to someone and say, hey, here's a device. It costs $1,500, $1,700. Oh, it doesn't run all the apps. And the apps it does run are really slow. It's a kind of a tough value proposition there. So at least they were able to lower the price. And we're in kind of a holding pattern now, waiting for superior hardware. So that's coming.
That's what I feel like. We're in a holding pattern with Windows on ARM.
Yeah.
Just so that's why
Although
we don't update it.
Runs great on a Mac. It's too bad they don't support that. Anyway, so there we are.
Yeah.
And then you said Surface Go 3, same exact device as last time, other than there's a Core
New
i3.
processors.
Yeah. So I guess the Intel Pentium Gold processor is a newer gen or a slightly better, something faster, or something. But the bigger deal is you get a Core i5, a 10th gen Core i5, which is kind of, Core i3. And that's something you might want to spec up because the base price of Surface Go without a keyboard cover is $399. The keyboard cover for that's got to be $125 or whatever. And then when you go to the M3 or the Core i3, that's going to add couple $100. It's going to be 8 gigs of RAM, 120 gigs of storage. It's probably going to be the $800 range by the time everything's said and done. But that little computer, which would be too small for my humongous hands, but that's a real computer. It's capable of running Windows 11. Will come with Windows 11, right? Most Surface Go's out in the world can't even upgrade to Windows 11.
Oh wow!
They don't qualify. Yeah, they don't meet the hardware specs.
Yeah.
So this is the
did you
kid
see
computer,
this,
the
by the way?
school computer. Is that what this is?
Yeah, they say for schools, they say for frontline workers, people who have simple needs or just want to have something very portable to carry around in addition to other devices they may have at work or home.
Yeah.
So it ships for consumers. It ships with Windows 11 Home in S mode.
Ay.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I'm like, so what? I was like, wait, what does S mode even mean anymore? Now that every kind of app can be in the store, right? It was weird. I'm like, I guess it still means something like locked down a little bit, or I don't know. You can upgrade for free to a different SKU, but I'm like, yeah, I don't know
It means
why.
you can't install Chrome is what it means. That's all it means.
That's pretty much all
It means
it
you'll be
means.
using Edge. That's all it means.
So $739 for a we'll call it
Spectre.
$730 for
Is that the
high-end
Wi-Fi only or
Surface Scope.
LTE?
Yeah, it is. Well, is it actually? Yes, it is.
So
I'm sorry.
Wi-Fi
But
should
that's
be the
core,
cheaper, obviously, right?
Yeah, but it's Core i3, 8 gigs of RAM,
Yeah.
128. I'm trying that. Like, in other words, the lowest price you can get in with that good chip and the keyboard cover is $730.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of tough. I mean, it's like
I know.
iPad pricing. Like, it's iPad Air pricing, I should say.
Yeah, seems like a good deal to me. Actually, I guess I'm in the Apple world. That's the problem.
You know, it depends.
Well, no, but like an
I've
iPad Air would be about that, 600.
Right.
I've got people on Twitter saying to me, this is something I need, I use it in addition to my PCs at work. I find the keyboard is fine for the limited amount of typing I do on it, and I use it to like check things that are going on at work, and I can carry it in my hand because it's small.
It's kind of their iPad competitor, really, right?
Yeah.
I guess. I mean,
I know.
it's still very much a Windows PC, and an iPad is still very much. And I know you can get a keyboard cover and all this stuff, but I mean, I think the iPad skews toward consumption, and the Go skews toward productivity, such as it is for a child. But or someone who would use a secondary computer. But yeah, web browsing, reading. I mean, of course, you can play like light games or web or cloud stream games or whatever. Music services, YouTube, whatever. I mean, yeah, sure. But I don't know. I feel like that kind of market, even anyone who wants a device of this size, I mean, I feel like apps matter. And I don't know that the apps that matter in this size or this type of device are Windows desktop apps, I don't know. Obviously, whatever. There's a market for it, so
Yeah,
it's fine.
Go is another one of these things that, like the Duo One, that I thought I was going to be like, yes, I'm all in on the Go, and then when I tried to use the keyboard, I'm like, and it just is a little too tight and too bouncy, and so I gave it to my sister. I think I mentioned this before on Windows Weekly, and she uses it as a recipe, like a recipe thing.
It's a
like
kitchen
all
computer.
the family's recipes are categorized on here, and she can use it to look at the news or whatever, answer email. So it's perfect for that kind of thing.
It is, except for $329, you can buy an iPad.
True.
That does exactly what you just said. I think the people you mentioned who, for some reason, need a secondary computer and they don't type a lot. Yeah. Okay. There's obviously use cases for it, but.
All right, let's pause for station identification, and we'll come back with some final thoughts about the event. And there's other Microsoft news as well.
Is there?
Is there, though?
There is.
Oh, there is. All right, see. And there's beer. So
we got to talk about this other peripherals and things we need to.
Yeah. We got to talk about
right.
the Ocean Plastic Mouse. Worst name ever, but it's the best.
is.
I have a huge
best
problems
idea
with
for
this,
it.
as you know from earlier.
We'll talk about it in a moment. Our show today brought to you by Worldwide Technology and Cisco. WWT is at the forefront of innovation, working with clients all over the world to transform their businesses, to strengthen their resilience in these difficult times. And, of course, the heart of WWT is the ATC. Lisa and I went out and saw that last year. It was really, really cool. Turns out that's going to be the last trip we'll ever take. But, I'm glad we went there. We saw that. The ATC, it started in one building, a couple of racks. And now it's extended. It's multiple buildings. It is $500 million of equipment from the biggest OEMs in the world and the smallest disruptors together. Why do they build this thing? Well, if you think about their business, this is what they need. The engineers at WWT use the Advanced Technology Center to learn about new technologies, to pilot concepts. If you're in the market, they can spin up a pilot for you that shows how all of this integrates. It's how they test out products before they go to market. But here's the beauty part. This started last summer. It's also how you can test out products before you go to market. The ATC is now a platform. You get access to all of this great gear, plus technical articles, white papers, expert insights. There's demonstration videos. There's the hands-on labs letting you use these products. All the tools you need to stay up to date with the latest technology. You should also check out the events. We did an event when we were out there. They have lots of great stuff in the ATC. And WWT is such a great partner for any business that is integrating enterprise technology. And I'll tell you why. They're technologists, yes, but they're business people first. So they understand that no technology makes sense in your business unless it supports your business goals, your strategy. So they always start with strategy. Strategy first, then execution. And that means they will always help you get the technology that's right for your business, that's right for your plans. I'll give you an example. They helped a large design and construction firm continue to operate through the pandemic. And then when it was time to come back to work, enabled a safe and seamless return to the office and job sites. WWT's consultants came in. They used their expert knowledge. They used the ATC. They used in-depth analysis to maximize the existing IT investment to improve the employee experience. They're not always going to say, oh, you got to get all the new stuff. They're there to support you and your business. And then their adoption services team delivered customized training. Yeah, they do that too. See, I think it was a real eye-opener for me to go out there last March to St. Louis and see, because what they do is so much more than just sell you hardware. Their adoption services team created customized training for the company's diverse employee base so that they could use this new technology and they could use it effectively and reliably and safely. Another example, they worked with a state university. They do a lot of work with education too, to create new opportunities for students to connect with faculty online, of course, because of the pandemic. They helped them test and compare virtual collaboration solutions in the Advanced Technology Center, another great use for that. And training, again, they trained and engaged with faculty and students to make sure that they adopted the new techniques, and it was a huge success. Using their personal-based approach, WWT can not only identify the technologies you need to safely reopen, but they can architect and implement a variety of solutions. Things like fever screening, occupancy monitoring, contact-free conference rooms, and on and on and on. All the things we need for modern times. That's what's great about WWT. They're fast, they're smart, they're nimble, and they can make sure that you get a solution that works. See how WWT and Cisco can help bring clarity to your reopening plans and implement solutions that enable flexible working. Go to WWT.com/twit. We are in a fast-moving world. Thank goodness WWT keeps up and helps you keep up too. Get started right now. WWT.com/twit. You join the ATC platform. You get access to all those valuable resources. It's free. WWT.com/twit. Worldwide technology. Great people making a new world happen for all of us. WWT. Thank you, WWT, for your support for Windows Weekly. And thank you, Windows Weekly fans. You got to use that address so they know you saw it here. WWT.com/twit. All right. So the little bits and pieces from this event, like that ocean plastic mouse.
The crumbs in the bottom of the potato chip bag.
Yes.
Yeah. So that one, the reason I was saying this to Leo earlier, Mary Jo, but I talk to PC makers all the time. There's always these briefings for the past 2, 3, 4 years, maybe. HP, Dell, Lenovo, others are talking up their use of recycled materials. They all want to be as low impact as they can be on the environment and so forth. And every one of their devices, every single time, like HP comes up with a new Dragonfly, and then another Dragonfly, and and every time it's like, oh, we've increased our use of this and that, and it's the biggest thing in the world. There's like 117 different categories of how they're using recycled bits. I distinctly remember the first time I'd heard this, one of these companies had used some recycled ocean-bound plastics in the molding around a speaker in one laptop. And it was just something they called out, and they said, we're going to be doing more and more of this. And sure enough, that's all they talk about now. And Microsoft came out and they're like, look, we made a mouse. We're so proud of it. We're going to call it the ocean, whatever they call it, the stupid name, recycled ocean something. And it's like, guys, you got to do a little more than that. Like, here's an idea. Why don't you use ocean plastic, recycled, whatever in everything and just make it part of your whole deal? And I think they will. But, this, I think, kind of speaks to Microsoft as more of a boutique PC maker than the big players. And the fact that they felt the need to come up with a mouse that advertises, which frankly looks like a bar of soap with flavor crystals in it or something, I just find to be.
I think it makes
bizarre,
you feel
like a
good,
bizarre
though. It's an interesting choice, especially because you don't normally want to put the word plastic in any product description.
Sure.
Yeah,
Right.
Here's
Well,
my
it's a
new
must.
plastic Volkswagen Bug. I mean, nobody wants that. But in
Right.
this case, they're kind of highlighting this is made out of plastics, recovered from the ocean.
Yeah.
You're right. And unfortunately, what it really highlights is how little they do everywhere else, right? So they have this gigantic product line of beautiful new Surface devices. And I thought they were going to launch into this thing about, yeah, we're doing this across the board. And they went right into accessibility instead.
Well, I should point out it's only 20% made out of recycled ocean plastics.
Yeah, they're killing it. I mean, they're killing it.
So even the mouse itself is 80% non-recycled plastics.
Like, yeah, we found this Clorox bottle on the beach and we turned it into a mouse. Look,
So I think
any effort in this area is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm
Agreed.
just saying, unfortunately, because it's
Should be more.
one thing,
Should be more.
It just highlights
Yeah.
that they're not doing it everywhere else.
Yeah. I feel like more and more Microsoft is playing up things they're doing around sustainability, especially, with their data centers and Azure. You hear them talk about this a lot. The carbon neutral footprint stuff they're aiming towards, right? And I think because when Satya Nadella had in his closing remarks, he talked about accessibility and sustainability a lot. Like that was kind of his theme.
Yeah, 2030, I think, was the goal to be net neutral
yeah.
on carbon emissions or whatever it was.
Right. So
great.
I think they believe, and I think a lot of people believe that especially younger people are very attuned to this. They want to know that the company they work for is on board with trying to fight climate change and trying to do the right thing in that area. So I feel like it was a nod to that.
I feel like they are so far behind. It's not worth pointing out. They're not even in the game. So maybe they will be by 2030, and that's great. And like I said, any step in that direction is positive. I'm just saying, calling it out in such an obvious fashion by having a product, a mouse, like a mouse. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Every one of your mice can't have 20% recycled materials. That's crazy.
Maybe they will going forward.
I'm sure they will. All I'm saying is HP, Dell, Lenovo, et cetera, are doing a much better job of this. And Apple.
Yeah.
Everybody has
Apple,
to. I mean,
how long has Apple been
They
talking
do.
about
I'm
this?
always suspicious because I feel like corporations pay lip service to a lot of things. Last year, everybody had the Black Lives Matter banner, but, that was... It was more to like, hey, don't worry about us. We got this. And then business as usual.
Don't throw a bucket of blood at our building.
Yeah, business as usual. And I feel like
Yeah.
there's a certain amount of this going on too. But I also think it may be sincere. And in the cases where it's sincere, we should really applaud it because it's so important. And it
Listen,
needs
you
to be
guys,
done.
You're sucked in with the Surface Duo, and now all you're doing is defending this company.
All right, I'm
And I
going to
gotta
say
tell
one
ya-
thing that Microsoft did really well, and I was very moved by accessibility and adaptive products. And I don't think there's any computer company in the world that is as committed to making their stuff accessible and is very forefront about that. And you got to, I know you're, Paul, you're an evil, bitter person, but you got to.
No, thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that.
Wow.
You got to at least give them a pat on the back for that.
Yeah. No, I like what they did
Okay.
here. And I love this.
Yeah.
I said, what I said at this was, there are parts of this Surface Adaptive Kit I want to use.
Me too.
Well, I love
I
the
said
line.
exact
I
same
thought this
thing.
was really
I love
cool.
the line. The guy said, look, we're all going to be disabled eventually at some point in our lives.
He said some of us just got there first.
Some of this just
That
got
is
there first.
that is beautiful.
Yeah.
I thought that was
It
really
is.
nice. Yeah.
It is. No, and if you think about it, I was like, oh yeah, it's a bunch of stickers. But then I walked over and saw like, oh wait, like you can like put a sticker right on the side of your laptop where a certain port goes and
Yeah,
have the same
so
sticker
cool.
of the same color with dots or whatever.
Yep.
So people who can't see well can like more easily do
Yeah.
that. My mom, trying to explain to my mom
Oh my
how
God.
to put
I know.
a power cord
I thought the same
in.
thing.
I was like,
This is where it goes. It's so beautiful.
and me
It's
without
such a
my
good idea.
glasses also.
Well,
I can't.
exactly.
I could never see that.
So I'm really pleased that they did this, and I think that
I
they
liked
did
it.
it very
I
well.
thought it was
Yeah, I
super
thought that
cool.
was nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So and they have committed to not using entirely recycled products in their packaging by 2025, by 2030 to be carbon neutral, I think. I mean,
HP is literally doing that right now. It's okay. It's okay.
So's Google. So's Apple.
I swear to God, if there's an HP box sitting out in your porch and it rains, that computer is going to be destroyed because that box
it's made out
will dissolve.
It's made of dissolving corn fiber. Yeah.
It is something like that. It's crazy. But anyway, I'm not trying to be cynical. Any step, like I said, in that direction is positive and the right thing to do. And they'll get there. It's fine.
We all have to do it. It's
agreed.
It's a crisis at this point. Something we got to take very seriously.
So, but looking at this event, I got to say, Mary, I'm curious, Mary Jo, especially about both of you, but Leo and I already discussed this. But what I came away from this with a very positive impression of Surface, which is a product line that's been troubling to me because of all the ups and downs. There have been really good moments, and then there's been a lot of slowness and decline and what's going on, what are they doing?
Bugs, problems.
I feel like they kind of got it together with this launch. But what was your overall take from this? What did you walk away? Did you feel good about it, or?
I did. I liked the pace of it. I thought it was really good that they just kept going and moving and like generating excitement. I felt like they successfully did that.
Okay.
I also think the message came through pretty clear, like hardware and software work better when they're designed together. And that was a big theme of this. And I think I didn't used to believe that. I used to be like, yeah, sort of. You know what? You could, if you just had good software, you could put it on any hardware. But now I feel like Microsoft has come to a better understanding of software because they make hardware. I think that's changed how they make software and what they think about.
This has been a 10-year wake-up call for Microsoft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still feel vaguely weird that Microsoft is competing with its partners in PCs. There's a part of me that will never get over that. But honestly, even if you never buy a Surface product, them doing this has improved Windows because now they don't have anyone they can turn to when something goes wrong.
Agreed.
Before there used to always be a little bit of a back and forth complaining at each other where, well, this is probably something you're doing or whatever. And now I think they understand like, oh, actually, this stuff has to work well together. And now it's completely on us.
Yeah. And you know what I love that they did at the end was showed the team behind it. What launch was it? Windows 95 that they opened the curtains and the team was all sitting there on stage.
I remember that.
Right?
That was so cool. Yeah.
And I like that they did it today because I'm like, there are a ton of people who helped, right? I did.
Did they do that? I didn't see that. When did they do that?
At the very end.
We must have tuned out too early, Paul.
They showed, was it Scott Hanselman? No, I think it was, it was right after Satya finished. They showed all the team like sitting there and waving and doing gestures.
Nice.
I'm like, hey.
Yeah, you got to acknowledge these people. Yeah.
You do.
Because there's a lot of people working on these products.
I know, right? And we all just are very like how I joked with the guy on Duo. I'm like, yeah, you need to make it better. But I'm like, yeah, that was a little harsh. That was a little Paul-esque of me to do that. But, you know.
It's easy to be mean when you don't think about the people whose hearts you're breaking.
I know. You don't want to go up to someone and go, yeah, your generation 1 was so terrible. I'm not even going to try the second one.
Who's the idiot who invented this thing? He's like, oh, it was me.
You.
Sorry. You still have a job.
At the same time, we also have a responsibility to our audience because they're the ones who are going to plunk out their
we have to be
dollars.
honest. We have to be honest. We can't, if something's bad, we have to say it's bad. We have to. Right. So, yeah. I thought the launch was very well done.
How do you feel about Surface as a product line now? Like, what do you think? Where are they? So, do you think, is this seem competitive to you? Is this better, in some way? I mean.
So I'm going to say something. So I probably shouldn't even say this, but I'm just going to say it. I never recommend Surface to anyone when they ask me for a laptop.
Me neither,
or
which
a
is weird.
desktop recommendation.
I should.
And the reason I don't is I feel like they're still very new in the market as a PC maker. And I feel like there are better options now from people like HP and Lenovo and Dell. If somebody says, Mary Jo, what would you recommend I get? I want to get a Windows 11 laptop. Like, I wouldn't think about Microsoft as my first choice.
So I also, anyone who would come to me and say, I'm looking for some advice about a computer, I also would not recommend Surface to that person But the flip side of that is, as someone who reviews these products and is really into this area, there's something about Surface PCs that I love. It's almost an emotional thing, not a logical thing. Even though I've had so many problems with various Surface computers, I still get kind of pumped up by this type of announcement and these new products. And it's a tough thing.
I bought a Surface Laptop 3, right? Like I went out and looked at all the choices that I had a couple of years ago, and I thought it looked like the most premium and the nicest device that would fit my needs the best. Okay, I did have a problem with my motherboard. I had to pay $400 to fix it because my Surface Laptop was 1 month out of warranty, and I, like an idiot, hadn't bought the extended complete plan.
I've got to be on my 7th or 8th Pixel, and I have probably replaced.
So this is just par for the course in technology. I mean, do you think Microsoft Surface are worse?
They're still learning. They're learning how to make PCs.
Paul and I both had terrible experiences with the original Surface Book Pro.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Because
Surface Book, I've had 3
never
of them
turned off.
Here.
Yeah. But that was early days, and it was a weird design. But I don't think that Surface is unusually unreliable. Do you?
Well,
yes.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
well, that's a problem.
I do, and the reason I do, and the reason I think that is not just because I've experienced it and I hear from people. It's, you were just talking about this hint. They can't get over this. They're so taken with these crazy. They're so proud of this kind of thing, and it's like, guys, that's where things go wrong. There are companies that have been making computers for 25 years. They understand how these parts work. I mean, maybe
Surface,
just do that.
No, the Laptop Studio Hinge would have me worried to buy that as a first generation product.
Right. And yet,
just because it's their first time trying,
I might want to buy one of these things. To me, that's a really intriguing product. Maybe, getting the first one maybe isn't the smartest thing. I mean, given history. But I would be worried about that too. I will say I'm less worried about it than the clipboard thing that came off a Surface Book. That was a huge problem. That was a big reliability concern. So they've, kind of.
They're getting better. They're getting better at making stuff, but I feel like you're putting them up against companies that have made PCs for decades, and
Microsoft is putting themselves up against PCs that have been made for. I mean, they're the ones doing it. They are,
but it's hard to recommend that when then you try. An HP or a Dell or a Lenovo.
That said,
that's all they make. Right.
Right. That's their type. That's fair. Although a lot of these companies disappear too.
Sure.
There's something special about Surface, and I think anyone listening to this podcast probably at least understands that, even if they disagree. I think our audience, this is, they get that. I mean, I would like to. I mean, I still, like I said, it's weird they're competing with others, but I like them enough that I wish this product line was more successful than it is. And I feel like these particular products are finally iterating in the right direction and to meet needs, not just to serve their egos. Although that Hinge thing is a little bit of a concern.
I was thinking if part of the curse is that there's so many other manufacturers. If it were like Apple, where Microsoft were alone in the space, I think we'd be celebrating and saying these are great, innovative new products. But they have to compete against HP and Lenovo and Dell and all these other really interesting devices.
And if they were the only part of the market, they would have iterated more,
right?
And they would have had more experience. If we ever get to the point where Surface is the only PC left, the entire market has collapsed and something has gone horribly wrong. So we don't really want that. But I don't know. So HP just announced, we don't have to talk about this too much, but
a bunch of stuff.
Announced a bunch of new computers, and they're beautiful.
Right.
And by the way, those guys know what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's reasonable to say recommend something from a company that's been doing this.
If it's someone
time.
who, it's like it's one of those if you have to ask kind of questions, like, if you're the type of person that has to go to someone else and ask about a computer recommendation, maybe Surface isn't for you. Unfortunately, well, but maybe that changes over time.
I think it's nice to have another choice, like for people who really are like, I want Microsoft hardware, I'm all in, or they have a deal where their company buys on a single contract Microsoft software and services and hardware, and it makes sense for them to just buy Microsoft.
People do affiliate with brands, I fall for this even though I'm cognizant of it. I bought a pair of like Pixel Buds, a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, I love these things. I'm
you like them? Okay.
Oh, I love them, but I don't need them.
Right.
And I did end up sending them back, and you could fall into that. You're like, well, I have this kind of phone, so I want these headphones. I want this.
You want the
charging
complete
cable,
armor set that goes, everything. Yeah.
That was the Nokia promise when they entered the Windows Phone market. It was like, they're not just making phones, guys. Right. There's a whole ecosystem. They made speakers and cases and add-ons and camera clips, and it was awesome. People love that about Apple and Samsung. And if you're into Windows, and why wouldn't you want to get it from the tap?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, they at the beginning of the event, I forgot what my idea was. Oh well.
I thought you were going to say the one more thing promise, because I thought they were going to have a surprise announcement that they did not brief the press on. And I'm trying to think, is it going to be like the display finally, or is the Neo coming back?
You and me both. I'm like, wait, there's one more thing we don't know about.
And then Satya ended and it was over. I'm like, wait a minute, they promised to,
It was quick.
And
too.
I'm thinking, I think maybe the one more thing was Satya.
Was it?
It has to be. They think this is interesting to people, that this crazy robot stands up and talks for 10 minutes.
Or maybe they thought Surface Duo was the one more thing that, because it wasn't part of the Windows family, like it was the one more.
Well, but he specifically said there was a surprise coming at the end.
Yeah. You're right.
At the end.
Probably was
Must be Satya.
Yeah.
Which is not really a surprise. It's
like, the CEO of the company wants to be in on one of the big announcements. What a shocker that is. I wish we saw more of Tim Cook. That guy never comes out of his hole.
I was just I was just surprised that we didn't see Panos' daughter interrupting the proceedings at some point.
Well, I made that crack when he went backstage in that supposedly impromptu moment. It's like, oh, look, there's my daughter playing a piano in the corner. What a surprise.
I said to Paul, I think the kids are probably old enough that they've got an agreement now with him, and they're like, Dad, here's the contract. You cannot put us in the keynote
cameras.
anymore.
The camera comes, I'm walking away.
Last time it was in his house, so that's, I guess, a little bit to be forgiven.
Yeah, except we're making a home movie, and then all of it. Dad, did I just hear a home movie in a press event? What's going on?
Anyway, reliability aside, I think they have a very nice lineup of stuff.
They do. They have a little something for everybody, right? Like all different sizes and types.
Yep. Yeah. They really do. Like whatever you're looking for, pretty much. They don't have a strict gaming PC, I guess. But between Xbox Game Pass and Game Stream or cloud gaming, I guess you could make an argument the consumer version of Surface Laptop Studio kind of hits on the corner.
They're lucky they did the xCloud, because that really lets them show off gaming on all of their devices, because you don't need the hardware. And so they did, by the way, even on the Duo, they showed how you can game with it.
Sure. I think Godzilla's coming.
All right. While you deal with your giant Japanese movie monster outside, I will talk to everybody about Akamai, which is Hawaiian for cool. I don't know if they want me to say that. It just happens to be cool or smart. Akamai is the world's largest distributed edge compute platform. I know everybody knows the name Akamai. I'm sure you do. What I was surprised, and of course I'm very familiar with it, what I was surprised is Akamai is affordable. How would you like to deliver extraordinary customer experiences, run your code at the edge closer to your customer? I know you would. Akamai is truly powerful because Akamai has 10 times the locations of the nearest competitor. Over 4,000 points of presence all over the world. You're always closer to your end user with Akamai. And that makes a big difference. It significantly cuts down on latency. Your customers get the content, the apps, the sites, the video they need. No lag, no interruption, no latency. Even if the global internet is spiking like crazy, even if your video suddenly went viral, Akamai, smooth as butter, smooth as silk. Prepare for spikes in demand and optimize resources to provide the best experience for your customers. And there's no one better. Akamai's performance is unparalleled. You'll always be one network hop away from 85% of the world's internet users. That's another way to put it. They're all just one hop away. And when it comes to scalability, no one scales better than Akamai's Edge Workers. You get the flexibility to scale enterprise applications. With Edge Workers, your development teams can focus on building while letting Akamai take care of the challenges of scaling globally. They're the experts. You get your job done, let the experts handle the scaling. And because Akamai empowers you to deploy serverless code at the edge, you won't experience the headaches of increased traffic at origin. You know, that you could forget having to say, oh my God, they're all hitting us all at once. That overhead disappears. It's all pushed out to the edge where Akamai handles it seamlessly without any problem. Akamai gives you the power to innovate right at the edge because your logic and your functions are deployed and active at the nearest proximity to your end users. So that means they get the fastest experience no matter where they are in the world. And of course, it's very easy to build right at the edge using JavaScript. You can innovate in real time. You'll get low latency access to data for custom code at the edge. And Akamai can optimize your API traffic delivery for edge applications. Now, I hope you, as I talk about this, you're starting to think about how this would change the way you work. It's significant. And here's the beauty part. Even with its unrivaled intelligence, performance, and scalability, Akamai is comparatively priced. Limits are set per request, so you can be sure your workload will scale no matter the size of your user base. And because you're serverless, you'll see decreased overhead at origin, too. You might actually save money. And everybody knows Akamai, their reputation. They're trusted by the biggest brands in the world. You're getting 10 times the locations of the nearest competitor. You're getting the fastest customer experience available. You got to check out the Akamai website to learn more about edge computing. Have a conversation with them. And I think you'll be very impressed by how competitive their pricing is. If you've always said, oh, I wish we could afford it. I'd love to use it. Talk to them. You'll be amazed. Build closer to your end user with the world's largest distributed edge compute platform and the best, Akamai. AKAMAI.com, Akamai.com/WW. Go there to learn more. Please do that /WW. That's really important to us so they know you saw it here. We're big fans. I've always been a big fan. I've always known they were the best. And they're less than you think. Akamai.com/WW. Thank you, Akamai, so much for your support. I guess I remember what I was going to say, which is that at the beginning, Panos kind of alluded to the idea that these were reference designs to inspire the industry. He wanted to make sure that OEMs didn't feel left out. Do you think that these qualify in that regard, at least, as, here's what we would like you to do with Windows 11? No?
So
I feel like that was the old argument, right?
He brought it up.
This is the presumption when you view yourself as someone who creates new form factors is that you are so inspirational that you're going to cause other companies to copy you. And we did see PC makers copying Surface Pro for sure. Like that still happens a little bit, not as much as it did before. That has never happened with anything else they've done, and not once. And
even the Surface Studio is a copy of something Lenovo already does. That whole
sure. Well, I mean the Surface laptop studio, Acer and HP, and probably others already make computers with this exact design
setup. Yeah, that's not new.
The pull forward screen. This is not new. I mean, it's new to Microsoft, but it's not. This is not a brand new design. And someone will argue, oh, they have a different kind of hinge. Yeah, that might be the Achilles heel of this thing, by the way. Okay, they have their own hinge. That's cute, but fundamentally, that's the same design that's already been out in the market for a while. So, does the PC market view them as some kind of reference design? If you said that to anybody from HP or Dell or Lenovo off the record, they would laugh in your face.
But
they would laugh in your face.
When they first started making Surfaces, I think that they had a legitimate reason to say that.
Yeah, well, and by the way, the other part of the story that maybe we should acknowledge is that you and I just discussed this thing that might have been called Glance. That was on an Asus prototype laptop during some WinHEC millions of years ago during Longhorn.
Yeah.
And there was the Athena PC they did with HP. There were all these reference designs that Microsoft made over the years because they wanted PC makers to think differently about PCs. When the first Media Center PC came out, what Microsoft wanted was something that looked like a stereo component. Mm-hmm. What came out was an HP tower that looked like a tower computer. It literally was just a tower computer. This was the frustration that Microsoft always had over the years. And so by the time they got to Windows 8, which is when Surface happened, they were like, look, we really want to go back to this tablet PC thing that you guys dabbled in like 8 years ago or whatever it was at the time. And we want it to be real. So we're going to make our own thing, and we're going to make tablet PCs. Touch, pen, these are going to be big. This is the focus for this product. And if you go back and look at the products that were available at the Windows 8 launch, what you will see is a mix of some touch-first devices and a lot of traditional PCs. You know, the PC makers kind of went kicking and screaming down that road. And unfortunately, for everybody, I guess, you know, that one design that Microsoft did have, the Surface Pro design, we'll call it, kind of stuck. You know, it was their most successful design. And I just don't see PC makers copying them in any other way. This
Not
recycled,
anymore.
you think I'm making fun of this recycled mouse thing? Talk to someone from HP about that. Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. They will never stop making fun of it. They never stop talking about recycling. Their briefings today are 50% recycled. That was a joke. There are 50% about recycled materials that they use in every single one of their products. They've been talking about this for years. Mm-hmm. So no, are they a reference design for the industry? Absolutely not.
Okay.
I think they used to be, but now
not anymore.
Not.
No.
Yeah.
No way.
So it's a business. It's $1 billion business, right? I mean, it's not an insignificant part of their business. They make money.
Well,
isn't it a $4 billion business?
Yeah, multi-billion dollar.
Okay. $4 billion. It's $1 billion to $2 billion per quarter. Sure.
That's a good business.
And I think they're going to have a good quarter. This is going to be a good quarter for Surface. These are beautiful products.
I still think
perfect
that
for holiday, right?
A little bit in their psychology.
In the channel.
They say to themselves, "We want to show off Windows 11 on our hardware." You know,
and by the way, their best customers, they're going to be Microsoft 365 in the cloud, Surface on your desk.
Right.
You know, it's going to be the whole increasing that monthly outlay that you get per user, per month, per corporation is huge for Microsoft.
It's the full regalia.
Yeah, you want the full meal deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. You know, it's their business, and it's not like they're making bad products. I think they make very interesting products. Right.
Yeah, I do too.
But it's funny because I don't buy any
Surface.
of them. You're right.
I know it's a paradox. I can't can I recommend it? No. Would I buy it myself? Yeah. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like it's so weird. It's
just like the Duo, right? Like I just pulled the trigger on it.
Mary Jo and I just spent $2,000 on Duos.
If somebody said to me, "Should I get the Duo?" I'd be like, I would wait.
You two are a duo.
I wish you'd said that to me 10 minutes ago, Mary Jo.
The Duo 2 Duo.
You know what? You can cancel your order anytime, Leo.
No, I know. Maybe that's it in a nutshell, which is I'm willing to take the chance, but I can't in good conscience tell somebody else to take that chance.
Right.
You have to be a little more cautious when you recommend something.
I feel like you do. And unless somebody has some really compelling use case for two screens on a phone, it's hard to say, you should go with Microsoft Android.
Yeah. Right. Well, and that's actually my biggest concern. I mean, it's going to be an out-of-date version of Android, as you pointed out, Paul, and who knows what the update schedule will be. I think it's Microsoft. They've got to commit to a multi-year update.
A year ago, when Apple updated iOS to iOS 14, it was a big deal. There was a lot of really neat stuff going on with iOS at the time. This year, it's kind of shifted to Android with Android 12 and the new that Material UI. It
looks gorgeous. It's
unbelievable. The thought of buying a phone that will not have that is like untenable to me, because this to me is the big deal. Like this is I pick up the Pixel I'm using because I'm on the beta, and every time I see that color scheme going through a new app, it's like, oh, this is awesome. It's awesome.
It's
like
pretty.
I just love it.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah, and there's no way.
I'm still thinking my next phone is the Pixel 6 Pro.
Yeah, me too.
I'm pretty. Like I'm like
Yep.
I'm leaning like 90% that way right now.
I think you'd be wise.
Yeah.
They will announce that next
test
month.
the camera, see what it's actually like to use that thing.
Yeah.
And you'll find out. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what it looks like.
I think for me, it's just I'm so bored of pieces of slab glass that I just want something different. Because I mean, look, here's the Pixel 4 and the iPhone 12. You'd be hard pressed to tell them apart. I mean, it's just a slab of glass.
Yeah.
I
don't care though. I find my slab of glass very productive,
works.
and that's why I get scared of the Duo 1 because I'm like I can do everything on a single screen that I want to do, and why do I want two screens?
I literally. This is how exciting I am as a human being. I was talking to my wife this morning while we were walking the dog about the power of familiarity and how it breeds efficiency and complacency, and it's really hard to switch.
And she pushed you into the water when you were next to the river.
No, I'm pretty sure she was filling out divorce papers in her head.
You're doing TED Talks to your wife as you walk the dog.
Well, because I'm in the process of trying to make these changes with the technology I use, and it's hard. It's even for people who are kind of immersed in it, like we are. It's hard to change.
Absolutely.
And we can kind of preach it all we want, and then you turn around and have to do it yourself. Sometimes it's like, oh man, like it can be difficult. So I don't agree with the Surface Duo or whatever, but the fact that you're willing to try it and give it a shot speaks well of you, Mary Jo, not Leo. And
no, I walked in there and I was like, I don't even really care about the Duo 2. I don't even care if I really see it. And then I walked over to the table and I picked it up and I'm like, it's such a nice.
That's a good sign that says they did something right. Because you're not exactly a gullible consumer.
And I'm not somebody who cares about tech for tech's sake. I do not.
Right. No, so that's I would say that's a good sign.
Yeah. I just started looking at it and I thought, I wanted the Surface Go to be something I could throw in my purse and just be able to do quick work on. And it didn't work out for me because it was too tight and the keyboard was too bouncy.
Yeah.
Okay, what if that could be the Duo 2? It might be. Maybe. We'll see. And if not,
I can
there's
tell
a
you,
very generous return policy.
It's easy to return, and that we discovered that last year. So
yes,
I've been out in the world, and I look at my email, and someone's like, "Oh, you have a typo or a mistake on your site or something," and I have to go through the web interface for WordPress from my phone, and you can do it,
terrible,
like it works, but it's terrible. So would a slightly bigger device with a bigger screen help in that? Yeah, it would, but. Does it happen enough to justify the cost and switching to that device? And
I think it's still terrible, to be honest. It's not that much bigger. It's still terrible.
Screens are a little bigger on the Duo 2 than they were on the.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are a little bigger.
Just a little bit bigger. But it's still very thin. Even with the camera bump, like when you close it, it's pretty thin. And the camera bump, when you flip it backwards, that was one thing I was worried about. Like it was going to be all bumped up in a weird way. It wasn't. I was like, okay. The bump is just a bump. It's fine.
Paul Thurrott, Mary Jo Foley. We can move on. Move on to other topics. Windows, is it still Windows 11? Are we still at 11?
I know. We have the Windows 10
we're
as
still
the
on
heading.
10.
It's actually 11.
Oh, good. Okay.
We can move on to 10. We can move on.
We can move on. 10 is here. It's time.
10, Windows 10
Actually, I don't know why that says 10. I should say 11.
There we go. A little editing.
It's easy.
H2, though, is still coming.
In
Windows
Notes,
10 H2.
in OneNote, it's easy to fix anything.
It's so
We're collaborating in real time.
It's
This is
amazing.
Look at what's
Is this
happening.
alien technology? Where did this come from?
It must be the fluid framework at work or something.
Yes. Oh boy, it's been a long day. I literally got up at 5:30 this morning because I was so.
Oh man, did you really?
I did too, but of course for me it was because I had to be here at 8, so it's a little different. A little different.
Yeah, not a lot going on here. So just a couple things real quick on Windows 11. We remember last week there was a rare Wednesday build for the dev channel. On Thursday there was the more normal build, if you will, for the beta channel. And this is the channel that's testing the version that's going to ship on October 5. So this thing has to be pretty much done. No new features that you would expect. They're adding the inbox apps that they've already updated for the dev channel into beta. So, those will ship out with the general release. Bug fixes and still some known issues. And this is the thing that's a little worrying. You were asking if I was joking, like, is this thing going to ship with as a pre-release version? I mean, they're not going to call it that, but taskbar, start, search, widgets, and Windows Sandbox all have major issues, many major issues. So it's kind of interesting, but that's thank you, Netscape, for doing this to the whole world.
Really? It goes back that far, huh? You blame them.
Yeah, that's the internet time thing. This is like, ship it, we'll fix it later.
Right.
This is a Netscape innovation for sure. I wish those guys were still around so I could beat them up. Anyway, Photos app that Panos kind of previewed on Twitter, 3 weeks ago-ish or something like that, is now available in the dev channel. And I think anyone can just go download it in the store. And this one's kind of cool because
I can't get it. I don't know why I can't get it.
I got it. I'm on. Oh, actually, I could try on this. I didn't try because I was on Windows 10 before, but this one's kind of neat. It's the same app, but it has a redesign, so it looks like Windows 11. That's no big deal. But it also has some new functionality, and that's like the film strip view where you can see multiple pictures side by side, which is kind of cool. It uses more of the app window. It has an updated editor that supports pen, that kind of stuff. So I honestly, it's kind of basic stuff. We could kind of make fun of it. It's like, oh, you can access third-party photo editors to the app. Neat, something we've had in Windows apps for probably 20 years. But we didn't have it in Photos. So, if you want to use Photos for the basic stuff and then you want to go do some hardcore editing in Affinity or whatever application you use, that's all available in the app too. So that's something to look for. Maybe I could have had that as an app pick, actually. But it's coming together. It's getting there.
But we buried the lead. The biggest story is coming up
Yes,
next.
Oh, what's the biggest story? What?
Do you have? Can we cue the video for "Ain't Seen Nothing Yet" before we get to this?
Paul was joking when I said Windows Server is back, baby, and he said, "Yeah, like Bachman Turner Overdrive."
I wasn't even sure you were going to understand the reference, but
I'm older than you, man. I understand.
They're an American band.
Yeah.
They
Wait,
are.
is that them? It's like "Ain't Seen Nothing Yet." What else? Taking
care of business, which was what I responded to you. I said,
Right,
yeah, the Windows
right.
Server team's taking care of business. And you're like, oh, wait, you got my joke. Ha ha. Anyway, listen to this. So remember last year when Microsoft said they were going to retire the MCSA, MCSD, and MCSE, and Windows Server admins were up in arms with pitchforks? Well, guess what they snuck in last week during the Windows Server virtual event? Hey, guys, there's now a Windows Server certification coming back from Microsoft. And the way they snuck this in was they added the word hybrid. So they are calling, if you take these two courses that they have, two exams, you will get to be called a Windows Server Hybrid Administrator Associate. So you'll get a new credential. If you're thinking, yeah, but it's going to be a lot of Azure stuff. Yeah, there's some Azure stuff in there, but a lot of it is stuff you as a Windows Server admin will be very familiar with. So you should go check out Microsoft's post on, they've got a couple posts. They've got an exam page so you can start prepping with the study guides and everything now. And this was like a major surprise. This was even a bigger surprise than anything Panos announced today, that this came back. I'm just going to throw that out there.
But Paul and I missed that huge announcement.
I don't know. I'm glad I covered it. I'm glad it's on allaboutmicrosoft.com if you need to reference it. Just saying.
I don't know.
It's a big deal, guys. Trust me. You should see that. You know how we know it's a big deal? The number of tweets, retweets, and then how many page views you got on that post. I'm like, yeah, this was a big one.
So AZ800's been around, but AZ801 is new, or both are new?
The two exams are both new.
Both new.
And
Okay.
but the certification itself is what's new, is what's coming and what's brand new.
I'm surprised,
You're gonna be
actually.
able to do this.
A lot of people have MCSEs and so forth. And
I know. And they retired them and said, you know what? We're trying to get people to go to role-based kinds of certifications now, which means focused on Azure, focused on Microsoft 365, on data, AI. And so anybody who had traditional Windows Server skills, you were kind of like, and what does that do for me unless I go back out and retrain, which a lot of people do, because they want to stay current.
This would be a good place for me to plug our sponsor, IT Pro TV. I'm sure they're already working on
I bet they're all over
AZ800 and AZ801. Yeah. They're very good at that, and that's one of the reasons you kind of have to. This stuff changes, but geez, that MCSE used to be the certificate, right?
Yep.
I guess if you have that certificate, it's not like
you have it, but it's like they don't really recognize it. But they don't let you kind of one up it anymore and renew it. So it's
can't get recertified.
You're kind of done.
Yeah.
So go for the new one, the new Windows Server Hybrid Associate. You'll be glad you did.
It could be the last one.
What?
Could be, but maybe I'm encouraged they got this by the powers that be. I'm sure the word hybrid is what made it work, but yeah.
You can't really force the world to go down the path you want to go on. I mean, there's a reality.
You can try.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Actually, I am rattled a little bit by that. I have to.
I can tell. I can tell. I threw you for a loop.
Yeah,
there, so
I'm kind of wow. Whew.
Yeah.
The only thing that's going to make this feel better is the knowledge that Office LTSC is now available.
Right.
Yeah.
That at least is a salve to the wound.
Yeah. So Office LTSC, long-term servicing channel. This is the next version of on-premises Office, but it's not the one you want if you're a consumer. The one you want if you're a consumer is going to be called Office 2021. That's the name of the one without a subscription that will be coming out October 5th, actually. Everything's happening October 5th, right? Windows 11, the new Surfaces, and now this new Office 2021.
Speaking of the October 5th date, Mary Jo, was there an official Microsoft announcement about this anywhere? Because I couldn't find it.
We don't know. I've asked multiple times, and they're like, we'll tell you more closer to the date. I'm like, okay, we're getting kind of closer to the date.
We're getting pretty damn close. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So LTSC is meant for people who need Office in very specific settings. Some IT pros use this to avoid getting updates because they want Office to just stay the way it is. But that's not who it's for. It's for people who have, quote, regulated devices, right? Manufacturing systems that cannot connect to the internet. That's who Office LTSC is for. If you need this or want it, just know you're going to pay more for it than you paid for the Office SKUs like Standard and Office Professional Plus. Prices are going up 10%, individual apps up 12%. So they're really trying to disincent you from going with this and go with Microsoft 365 instead. But they are still making it available, right?
It's a 5-year support cycle too, which I think is a first. Yep. I think it was a 10 years before that.
Yep, correct. And they are saying there will be more Office on-prem releases that do not require a subscription. They're not saying how many more, but at least they're promising that for people who need that.
Right.
Power Automate Desktop was updated too. Okay.
Woo! Everybody, woohoo!
Guys, I get bad news for both of you. And I hope you're both, I can see you're both sitting, so I guess it's okay to tell you. I don't have any Xbox news today.
Oh my God.
All right, I'm going home. Wait, I am.
Starting in a couple of weeks, Mary Jo Foley and I are going to do the Microsoft Duo report.
Yes. We are.
We'll each be in one screen of the folding screen. It'll be great.
The Duo Duet is going to do their thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Coming up the back of the book. But first, a word from our sponsor, the fabulous folks at Udacity. I know you want to get those tech skills to get you a job in the tech industry. And that's kind of why Udacity was born 10 years ago, founded by a Googler who realized that a lot of the candidates they were getting for jobs, high-paying, excellent jobs at Google, the candidates weren't really well-trained, even though they were coming from the best universities. They didn't have the skills they needed. So Udacity was born, a place to go to get those skills that the employers in the tech industry most want. How do they know? Well, they work with the big companies like Microsoft and Google and IBM and AWS. Your teachers will be team leads at top companies. That's where many of their instructors come from. And they have the nano degree program. Now, this is all online learning. You can do it in your own time. In fact, you can do it part-time if you want, just a few hours a week. If you spend about, I don't know, an hour a day, somewhere there, working at your own pace any time of the day or night, you can graduate in as little as 3 months. And the nano degrees are so cool. Listen to the programs. There's AI. There's deep learning. There's stuff you can't get anywhere else. Flying car and autonomous flight engineer. But this is the stuff companies like Google are looking for. Companies like Microsoft are looking for. Intro to self-driving cars, machine learning engineer, robotics software engineer. Wouldn't you love to learn these skills? If you love tech and you want to take your knowledge to the next level with very interesting cutting-edge content, Udacity is the place for you. One of the things I like about it is the way they teach. Of course, you get videos from your instructors, but you're also going to be asked to get hands-on. I think that's really important. You can watch all the videos, and internally you say, I know it now. I know the material. I read the book. I watched the videos. But until you actually sit down and start doing it, you know this. It's like reading how to play the violin. You got to play. You got to do this stuff. So all of Udacity's courses are project-based, active learning that covers cutting-edge technology, lets you test your knowledge as you're learning. All your homework and projects will be reviewed by people who are in the field, professionals. You'll have real human feedback, kind of like the code reviews you'll get when you get your job in these companies. You also get, and this is important, you're not alone. I think that might be intimidating, but don't worry. It's hard. Look, I'm not going to say it's not hard. It is hard. You bang your head against a problem. If you go, I need a little hint. Give me a hint. You've got access to mentors 24/7. So you can say, what am I doing wrong here? And I have to tell you, there's no better feeling after you've been banging on this and suddenly, maybe it's 11 o'clock at night now, you're ready to go to bed and the light goes on and you go, I get it. And you solve it. Now you know it. Now you really are ready. You need to get that light bulb going out and going on. And that's the whole point of Udacity's project-based active learning. Look, I don't want to be a downer here, but the World Economic Forum says 75 million jobs are going to disappear, poof, in the next 3 years, replaced by automated processes. Maybe the thing you're doing is one of those jobs. It's time to get a job for the future. You can check out the course listings. If you're a business or you're running an IT team and you want Udacity for your team, yes, you want to look at a Udacity for Enterprise. Your team can master cutting-edge technologies like data science, AI, cybersecurity. Who doesn't want their team to be up on that? With Udacity for Enterprise, you can upskill your entire workforce with that real-world project-based learning Udacity's famous for. Check out the Enterprise section. It's right there on the Udacity website, udacity.com/twit. Go to UDACITY. It's like Audacity without the A. Udacity.com/twit. And, we got a great deal for you. Look at that. 75% off any program if you use the offer code TWIT75 is a limited time offer. Udacity.com/twit. Please use that address so they know you saw it here. And then the offer code for 75% off any program is TWIT75. That's an excellent deal. Udacity.com/twit. Thank you, Udacity. Paul Thurrott kicks off our back of the book with his app pick of the week.
Yeah. I have 2 app picks today and no tips. The
Well,
tip
look
is
at
don't
you.
buy a Surface Duo too. No, I'm just kidding.
Too late.
2 app picks. So the first one is the PC. At least it wasn't a box that I said this time. The PC Check. That's not what it's called. The PC Health Check app. No wonder I wrote it wrong in this thing. I'm like, no wonder I can't read it. It's not right. This is the app that Microsoft released back in late June. Remember, so you could download it and see if your computer was compatible with Windows 11. It was horrible, and they updated it a couple of times. And then they said, you know what? We're just going to pull this thing and we're going to come back with it. And they did. They did come back with it, and it is much better than it was before. Apparently, it does a lot of other things. It's actually designed to literally check the health of your PC. It looks at your security setup and all that kind of stuff. But one of the functions it has is you click a button, it examines all of your components, and it will tell you if you're compatible. And if you're not, it will list out the stuff that's wrong with it this time, and it should work better. So that is now broadly available. I thought it was just for insiders, but I think anyone can get it. And obviously they wanted to do that ahead of the launch of the product. So that's there. And the other one is, you may recall that it's actually quite a while ago, but 2.5 years ago, Microsoft announced they were resuscitating the PowerToys brand, and we're coming out with a suite of utilities for, at the time, Windows 10.
Oh, I always loved PowerToys.
Yeah.
Used to
so it's still
them all the
pre-release.
time.
It's like version 0.45 they're on right now. So it's not 1.0 or anything, but there are many, many more tools than there used to be. And now you can get it through the Microsoft Store as well. The only thing I kind of don't like about it is you run these things from like a central dashboard. There's like a home screen that has links to all the apps. I kind of wish they were separate, apps you could just run separately. But there's a lot of interesting stuff in here, and sort of like the Surface devices we talked about earlier. It's probably something for everyone in here. And actually, you can find some things in here that were clearly inspirational for Windows 11. For example, Fancy Zones clearly kind of turned into snap layouts, right? But there's some File Explorer add-ons, an image resizer tool, a keyboard manager lets you map the keys in the keyboard, super useful. Power Rename, Power Tools, Toys Run, et cetera. So there's a bunch of different tools. So if you search for Power Toys in the Microsoft Store, you should be able to find that there. And
Nice.
I'm going to go
It's free,
fix
right?
that typo because, yes, it's all free.
Yeah, you say check health in the article.
Oh, the other, not this article, the other
This one has a typo too. Wow.
one. No, that probably does. Yeah, probably.
I think
I'm a
Paul's
mess.
overheating.
Everyone's overheating right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Mary Jo Foley's Enterprise Pick of the Week.
So this was very confusing last week. Another Windows 11 lack of communication, perhaps? Okay. Windows 11 originally was not going to have the same TPM requirements in a virtual machine as it would as if you were running it natively on your PC. That was documented that Microsoft was not planning to enforce that if you ran it in a VM. Then last week, when Microsoft released a test build of Windows 11, they put as an addendum that, oh, by the way, we are going to enforce that in a virtual machine. And that if you are running a virtual machine that does not comply with the TPM requirements, we're not going to let you run Windows 11 in the VM. So then it became only in Hyper-V virtual machines. And then it was maybe it's all virtual machines. So our friend Tero Alhonen, who listens to the show a lot, he looked up the Microsoft documentation, and it hadn't changed last week. It still said they were not going to impose this limitation on VMs. So I looked today, and Microsoft now has reconciled the documentation to go with its claim that you will not be able to run Windows 11 in a virtual machine if it doesn't have TPM 2. So yeah, it looks like that's what the rule is going to be. And it's interesting that they decided to close that loophole after letting people have that loophole and saying that would be allowed.
Okay. Well, it's good to get the clarification anyway.
It is. And it's good because I know some people were counting on using virtual machines to get around the TPM2 requirement.
Yeah.
But nope.
All right.
Looks like you can't.
And Tero Alhonen had another
Our
tip.
friend. Yep. This second tip also, from Tero. So yesterday when I was looking at the new Surface devices, I said to the people who were demoing them, so you can also put Windows 10 on these, right? And I guess that was like not an allowed question or...
Why would you ever want to do that?
Yeah. Well, a lot of businesses do want to do that, right? Because they want to have everybody on the
That's
same
their
version.
build.
And,
Yeah.
right. Not everybody's going to immediately jump to 11. So when I asked, they kind of just said to me, maybe like we're thinking about what we can do or not do. And then Tero today found the Microsoft documentation on Surface OS Choice on documents.microsoft.com. And it says, Surface Laptop Studio, Surface Pro 8, and Surface Go 3 all will allow business customers to have the OS of their choice, meaning Windows 10 or 11. So if you're wondering, can I order this or get this with Windows 10 on it instead of Windows 11, for whatever reasons you might want to, the answer is on those three devices, yes, you can. If you're a business user.
Makes me feel like the people you were talking to at that event may not have been the highest ranking Microsoft employees out there.
You know, I think they were the right people, but I think they had certain things they were supposed to talk about and not. And the theme of the day was Windows 11 on the new Surface devices, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is this for consumers or businesses?
Businesses, right?
Only for businesses.
Yeah.
It says.
Yeah. No, this was in the stuff we got.
It was.
Yeah.
I didn't see it because I asked them that because I was like, I bet some people are going to ask me if they can put Windows 10 on it.
Yeah. Well, they're
I could-
relieved now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're a business, I can see totally why you would not want to
Yeah.
take a chance with Windows 11.
They're definitely going to be
quite
businesses
yet.
sticking with Windows 10 for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they may want to start with like a small of their own, like insider ring in their company and like test it out and then see if it works for their division or unit. And then go to 11 as it becomes available on older hardware.
If they can withstand the clamor from the employees who are demanding Windows 11, yes.
That's right.
Exactly.
Thank you for acknowledging that.
If they haven't heard, there's a Windows 11 field guide coming, and you may want to pick
Boss,
up a copy. Of
There
that.
are people at the doors with pitchforks and torches. They want Windows 11.
It's so
What do we
easy.
do?
Why do you need a book?
I need a beer, and so does your laptop. What can we do to cool it down?
It does. I'm holding it up right now and letting it cool down.
I see that. Look at that.
I'm like,
Don't burn yourself.
Trying to get some cooler.
See, this is why
air
the
here.
Surface laptop studio has that little base.
Yeah.
That must be why.
It's blowing.
I think if you
blowing
spent
the
like
hot out.
$2,000-$3,000, you would solve all your problems.
Okay, good to know.
Beer
Beer
pick of the week. Yes.
We have one Manhattan brewery still working in New York called Torch and Crown. They have made a beer called Welcome Back. Welcome Back is for all the New Yorkers who abandoned New York or who didn't have to come to work and now are returning to the city. And I'll tell you guys, I was out last week quite a bit, and yesterday, New York is back.
Is it? It's
There's
crowded and
so much traffic. People are out. Subway's
Good.
getting full again.
Good. I love
it's
that. I'm
Sure,
happening.
but they're all
Yeah.
like super nice to each other now. It's not like
Oh
it was
yeah,
before.
it's a whole different
Yeah.
thing. Like everyone wearing
Like a
masks,
kumbaya
and being
kind of a moment.
considerate.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the reason I picked Welcome Back wasn't because of that, but if you watch today's Surface event, Satya Nadella at the end was making a big point out of saying Windows is back. Our focus on Windows and Windows devices is back at the company. So I felt like he also was saying, welcome back, Windows. And if he does drink beer, I don't know if he does, he could drink this one because only 5.3%, a nice hazy IPA made with New Zealand hops, so very international, not just U.S. focused. I think it would be a nice choice if he wanted to toast the new devices and Windows 11 with a beer.
my son drinks hazies.
I like hazies.
Lagunitas has a good hazy. What is hazy
Yeah.
versus a regular IPA?
So West Coast IPAs are not hazy. They're clear. They're much more bitter, piney, like those kind of
Tart. Is
Is
flavors.
it just a filter thing, or is it more to do with
No,
the
it's the way
process, or-
they make the beers, right? And I don't know all the intricate details.
You can see
of how
this
they
does
do
look hazy. I mean, so
It
is,
does look hazy.
It is a
Yeah.
hazier kind of. It's not a crisp, clear.
Right.
Yeah.
So New England IPAs, or they call East Coast style IPAs, a lot of them tend to be hazy IPAs. That's just a differentiation, West Coast, East Coast styles. So yeah.
Yeah, we were Henry and I had lunch at Lagunitas last
Nice.
week. I sent you the list of specialty beers you can only get at the tap room. I don't know if you got that, Mary Jo.
No, I didn't get that.
Oh, I'm
No.
sorry. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
I have an old address for you, but it was
fun.
pretty cool. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, here's a little pandemic trivia for you, Mary Jo, that you might enjoy. Because I send Mary Jo
Yes.
pictures of the board at the Trapdoor because of
You
their beer
do.
selection. So they've been closed this summer because of all the trouble getting help. And I took a picture to send you this because they had a beer from Colorado, Foley, called Foley, right?
Foley Brothers.
And yeah, and I went to send it to you, and I saw when I went to text you, I saw that I'd literally texted you that back in May.
Oh.
Because
Oh, wow.
when they were last open, they had that same beer because they've been
That's
closed
funny.
all summer, so they still have
Yeah.
it. I was like, oh, I guess
This was some limited
That's what I was gonna
releases.
Oh,
But I
nice.
thought you might like the Willetized, which is 13.1%. Chocolatey, coffee-y, smoky, bourbony beast of a barrel-aged thing.
That sounds amazing. That sounds delicious.
I had the Disorderly Tea House, which is basically a tea beer, But it was quite good with tea and lemon, and they also have a berry version. But here's their hazy.
Nice.
A succulent, juicy, mouth-smacking hazy IPA full of Laurel 291, Hallertau, Galaxy, and Citra hops. So,
Nice.
and then they have a Wonder
Sounds
Mosa.
good.
I think he had the Wonder Mosa infused with blood orange and grapefruit
Wow.
juice. Yeah.
They all sound good.
Yeah, don't they? Well, next time you're out here, we'll
I
go
know.
over to
I went the
Lagunitas.
last time I went to Petaluma. I went to Lagunitas.
Yeah.
And it was great.
It's good, and the food is quite good now, and they have music,
Nice.
and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I got an update on Twitter.
Okay.
I'm going to butcher his name. I'm so sorry. Abe Venkatesh, who is linked to a devblogs, Microsoft.com blog talking about dynamic refresh rate in these devices. And Microsoft says they're working with their partners to bring updated drivers that will bring dynamic refresh
nice.
rate.
So it's just
to Windows.
software. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yep. So I guess the hardware can I guess we'll call it variable refresh rate or whatever. But anyway,
That's
apparently it's
huge. That's great. That's really a big deal.
coming. Yep.
Nice. Too bad those duos won't have it.
Right. Right. So they don't have anything. They don't have 90
They
or
got
100.
nothing. No,
Nothing.
just
Yeah.
60. Yeah, just plain old screen.
Well, that's all you deserve, you Duo user.
I'm like, yours comes when? October 21st? Is that the same for you, as me, Mary Jo?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the first availability, I guess.
I really hope they give me a review unit. I made a tough play for it yesterday. I almost cried. I
Why
tried to do some
wouldn't
fake
they?
tears.
You're making her spend money? Come on, Microsoft.
No, well, they really handpick who they give stuff for review to. So
If you're not a YouTuber, forget it. Is Microsoft
Pretty
that way?
much.
Apple's that way. It's all goes to YouTubers. Completely. I mean, not
There is
all.
Does, I know.
absolutely a bigger percentage of YouTubers getting this stuff.
Oh, God, yeah.
than
Oh, yeah,
before.
totally.
You can see it
Totally.
everywhere. It's crazy.
Well,
I think
they're-
I could call myself I Mary Jo instead of I Justine and see what
I
happens.
like it. I like it.
You should have. You should have. There is an opportunity missed.
But Microsoft, I'm an influencer. Come on, guys.
Yeah, yeah. Mary Jo Foley, she writes at the ZDNet. Her blog at ZDNet is all about Microsoft.com. And of course, it's more than a blog. It's a news thing that you get all the latest, especially enterprise news. Mary Jo's got the scoops. Paul Thurrott at Thurrott.com. He's got all the scoops too, and other things, full of goodness. The only thing it's not full of these days is Brad Sams. But other than that,
That bastard.
oh, now it's Paul in a jumpsuit, so that's good.
Ooh, that's horrifying.
I never know what I'm going to get when I press that button.
No one
That
does.
is, that is
He's
scary.
reclining on my laptop. Let me just
Is that
adjust
the Xbox?
So that's from my
onesie?
new YouTube channel.
Is that a little more comfortable? Yeah. There we go. Just get that.
By the way, Dozer. Wasn't it a character in The Matrix?
Dozer. No, he wasn't. It was in. It wasn't it Transformers. I think he's a Transformer. I don't know. I
don't know, I
forgot.
just
I
thought
keep
it was
forgetting to
the-
call you
for some
guys
reason-
dozers.
But is that from? What's that from?
Dozer. What's it from?
I thought it was from The Matrix.
The
no?
Ghostbusters. No, you're thinking of Gozer. Gozer was in the Ghostbusters.
Gozer.
Gozer's a beer, you guys. It's a beer
Gozer's
style.
also a beer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did
I'm
we
not
kid?
told.
Yeah, no. Bender's saying, yeah, it was in the Matrix. There was a Dozer
was?
in the Matrix. He dies in the first movie.
Oh, of course.
Spoiler alert! Please.
Oh, come on, dude.
Dude, it's been 20 years and I still haven't seen The Matrix. Oh, now Paul's reclining on the lower third. How comfortable is that?
Not very.
It's a little hot in here for that onesie.
Yeah, it's so hot your laptop could overheat.
Not my laptop, Mary Jo.
What is
What are
that?
you
What are you
using, a
what are you
Mac?
pulling up from behind your head there? What
It's
is
the
what is
hood.
it? Oh, that's the hood.
Hoodie.
Oh.
I think this is like an Xbox onesie, right? What is that weird looking
It is.
pocket? This
It
is
is.
horrifying.
It's an Xbox onesie for sure. I'm sure Paul has one too, and he's just pretending he's horrified.
Nope. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Oh.
From the end.
Paul's Field Guide to Windows 10 is available at leanpub.com. And someday soon, What do you think? Will you get it out October 5th, the field guide to
It will
Windows
be
11?
super incomplete if I do.
Yeah.
But
Just like Windows
it'll be-
11.
Like the operating system.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you. Exactly.
Perfect. Just in time.
It'll be one of those build-a-bear type things. You can buy it now.
I love that. And it gets better and better and better. We do Windows Weekly every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1800 UTC. You can watch it live. You can watch everything we do live at twit.tv/live. There's audio and video. You can also chat live at irc.twit.tv. Club Twit members can chat with us in our Discord as well. If you're not a member of Club Twit, why not? It's a great way to support what we're up to here. All you have to do is go to twit.tv/clubtwit. It's month to month. So, $7 a month, but you can cancel at any time. What do you get? Ad-free versions of all of our shows for a start. That takes about an hour out of every show. There's also joking. There's also access to the Discord, as I mentioned, and our Twit Plus feed, which includes stuff before and after each show, plus special content, like our Untitled Linux show, the Giz Fizz.
I can't believe we still call it that.
Isn't that a great name? I just think it's a great name. I'm fighting a lot of resistance. They wanted to call it like the Tux Show and said, no, Untitled Linux Show. It's perfect.
It's a good name.
Yeah.
It is a good name.
It's generic, just like us.
Just like Linux.
Just like Linux. That's right. White label. We also... so anyway, twit.tv/clubtwit. We also have on-demand versions of this show with the ads intact at twit.tv/WW, or you can watch on YouTube, get even more ads if you want. It's great. Or subscribe in your favorite podcast application, and that way you get the show automatically the minute it's available. If you have not left us a 5-star review, why not, please? Surely you're not disgruntled. If you're gruntled, leave us a 5-star review. It would help us spread the word about Windows Weekly now. And what is it, Paul? Our 16th year of
Don't ask me
broadcasting.
this question. I can't remember.
For a long, long time.
XP was still a going concern
Yep.
when we started.
Yep.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow.
We're just starting to talk about Windows Vista. I don't even think there was an insiders program in those days. I remember when
They had a beta back then, but
Right.
yeah, it was two months before the commercial launch of Vista.
Mr. Paul Thurrott, Ms. Mary Jo Foley, please stay cool. Keep your laptops high and your spirits even higher. And we will. And by the way, if you didn't see the Microsoft Surface event, Paul and I commented, annotated it as it happened, and that's on our Twit news feed, which you can find at the website twit.tv/news. If you missed it, subscribe to the news feed. That way, if an event happens and you miss it, it'll appear, and then that way you can watch it at your leisure later. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Mary Jo. Have a great week. We'll see you next time on Windows Weekly. Bye-bye.
Android is constantly evolving, and if you're part of the Android faithful, then you'll be just as excited about it as I am. I'm Jason Howell, host of All About Android, along with my co-hosts Florence Ion and Ron Richards, where every week we cover the news, we cover the hardware, and we cover the apps that are driving the Android ecosystem. Plus, we invite people who are writing about Android, talking about Android, and making Android onto the show. Every Tuesday at twit.tv, look for All About Android.